Hey guys, Josh here, CrossFit Rema, talking Thursday's workout, and that's one of our longer pieces through the week, and you can see how the programming is set up. On some days we do very Spartan amount of reps, and on some days you do a lot of reps. That's how it needs to look. Very similar to how we do it in the box, except a lot of us do not have a barbell or weights to do that forced 5, 3, 2 rep range. So we do yesterday like that tempo. Again, that's how we keep the joints, the tendons, ligaments healthy. That's how we can still build a lot of strength. That's how we can also get around doing thousands of reps in the same patterning, which is what hurts people. So let's get into the workout today. And here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a little bit of a different style warm-up. We're gonna turn the clock on. We're gonna turn the clock on for 9 minutes for our warm-up. We're gonna do a 10-second plank, followed by 10 scapular push-up, shoulder push-up, whatever you want to call it. Then we're going to do a 10-second wall sit. And then we're going to continue that pattern for 9 minutes, but we're going to up that plank by 10 seconds every time. So if you watch when I get into position, this is what it's going to look like. So I get into my plank position, squeeze your butt, shoulders are externally rotated, meaning the elbow pits are turned forward. I tighten up and I hold for 10 seconds. It's not that, whatever that is. It's not hanging on the joints. Again, butt squeeze, shoulders over wrists, 10 seconds. Now, the next piece, I'll go right into it, scapular push-up. Now, here's the thing. If I can feel it better, go ahead and go to the knee, and maybe you feel like you're tackling more range out of that. That's what matters, not being in some weird position. So I want to see a lot of movement about the shoulder, not a lot of movement about the neck, and not a lot of movement about the elbow. So again, 10-second plank, 10 shoulder push-up, 10 scapular push-up, be it in plank or in quadruped, either one's fine. Then I'm gonna find a wall, and then I'm gonna hold for my 10-second wall sit with my knees pushed away from each other, entire back's up against the wall, hands aren't touching. You want to get really crazy into it with the arms. You can do a shoulder test to see if you can touch at the top. I'll hold that for 10 seconds. Then I go through the whole thing again, and the only thing I change is that plank now becomes 20 seconds. And I do that for 9 minutes. Okay? Now, when I get to my conditioning piece, here's what's going to be. 1 mile run. Then, when I get inside, I do 50 push-ups, 50 bent over rows, 2 rounds of that, so keep that in mind. Then I do another mile run. I do all that for time. Now, it's a total of 2 mile run, and it's 50 push-ups, 50 bent over rows for 2 rounds, and the run bookends that. Okay, so that's how that workout is intended to work. Now, to scale it, I can scale it so many ways, and that's what's important. It's really, really challenging to take a really, really simple workout that could be fantastic scaled for somebody, but make it way harder. But the way that you do it is you take a hard workout and then you scale it via all of the levels of fitness that you have. So maybe this workout becomes 25 push-ups, 25 bent over rows for 4 rounds. Maybe it's a 800-meter run, some push-ups, some rows, whatever it may be. The coach is going to help you out with that, but it's scaled appropriately for each athlete. So when I look at my push-up, here's what it's going to look like. If I'm push-ups, this position, same as that plank position, the big deal is that everything touches at once. The tendency is for a lot of athletes is to get into this position where they move as 2 separate people. That's not how that push-up works. It's all the way down at the same time. The chest does not lead. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not the piece that typically leads. Maybe we see this and we lead with the legs. And again, it's not that that's a bad scale. That may be a great scale, because here's the thing about the push-up and why this is so incredibly important. It's getting up off the floor. And when you're 20, maybe you take it for granted. When you're 80, you probably don't. So it's really good to work push-ups all the time. Okay? So I'll do my push-ups, but it's not okay to just push all the time. Hence why it's immediately followed with a pull to set the shoulders. So I got 700 pounds, maybe 750 of concrete, put it in this thing, And this is gonna be the hardest bent over row that you've ever seen. Okay, whatever. There's nothing in it, but you get the idea. It could be really heavy. Most of us have a cooler. Maybe there's stuff in it for post-workout, I don't know. But that could be my bent over row. And it would essentially follow up the push with a pull. I get into that hinge position. I come straight back, and it's not this weird kind of 45-degree hinge. It's as good of a hinge as I can get. So I'm just finished with my 1 mile run, my 50, then my 50 push-ups, my 50 bent over rows for 2 rounds, and then my other 1 mile run, which looks a lot like the workload in a workout like Murph, which we're all gonna get to do. So that kind of is prep for that. And then I do a hero, and I'm kind of in the starter version of this. Now here's the thing, a lot of us that can do this take it for granted that this may be the sketchy part where my shin's at, meaning I start to get there and I feel a ton of fullness at the ankle. Interestingly enough, that's what you would prescribe most athletes to get better at this, is you do this, and you do it every day. And that fullness should not feel like there's a landmine in my shin, like it's about to explode and paint the wall in front of me. I mean, that's not what we're talking about. But we are talking about, that's full, okay, well, let's just touch on it. And then the next week it's a little better. Then the next week it's a little better until I'm finally able to sit on those heels. And then maybe I'm able to start getting a little bit of a quad stretch in there. What's interesting is that this kind of stops being a quad stretch when I can put my shoulders on the ground, and then it becomes a lot more of a lower back stretch. So that's what happens when I get into that position. I don't really feel it as much for my quads. I do, especially after I've worked them, but feel it a lot more for the lower backs. But the first iteration, again, is this. And maybe it's just touching into those tight shin, ankle area. Then it's starting to sit, getting comfortable. Then it's leaning back. Spend a considerable amount of time here, and probably, if you struggle with it, you should probably do it more often.